All this is in the packet just to get the conversation restarted and get people thinking on it. I'm sure we'll probably have more discussions. This is just kicking that off because there are some things to fix and work through. So it's just getting it back in focus.
Okay, so then we have the building permits on page 33, and then Patrick added in um, highway signage. Is that what it was?
Correct. So we are starting to see requests from potential businesses out in Brandon 90 Plaza wanting signs taller than what is allowed by our zoning code. They want so coming from going from the east west, you generally have pretty good visibility going west to east. It's limited in order to actually see it going that direction. That would have to be a very tall sign. I think we kind of measured out it would have to be well over 100 feet tall to actually see it. So we have received a variance request for that. Is that the way you want to? Do you want to treat them by variance? Is it a code amendment? Is it a variance matter? How do you prefer to do that? Hardship. The reason why they want a taller sign is so they can make more money. Is that a something related physically to the land, or is that more of a them issue? I don't know. I just wanted to get it out in front of you because we are starting to see that, and I imagine we will for most businesses out there.
Yeah, we've had one variance and another one's coming. There's no question about it.
I wouldn't be able to see a hardship with that. No land hardship. We were recently down in Mesa, Arizona, and there aren't there aren't signs that stick way up all over town. You can't look on the horizon and see where the various kinds of stores are. So they must not allow it. How they avoid a lot of businesses complaining about it, I don't know.
So,
Maybe they just say no. Well, sorry,
just so
but it was not like when you go past. Say you're on 29 going past Sioux City, and everybody's sign sticks up high. So, I mean, there are places in the country where they don't allow it.
so just for clarification purposes, just so any opinion expressed is just an opinion at this point until it's the public hearing. No determination is actually made.
Absolutely, it's just what I noticed when I was traveling.
Yeah, I've mentioned that before too. There's a lot of towns in, Colorado, Montana, um, places like Breckenridge and Vale and Aspen. They don't allow any signs other than very very short signs, pedestrian scale signs, and signs on the face of their buildings. Now, that's a little bit different than what we have here in South Dakota. So, are we going to scare businesses away by not allowing something like this? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But they did come in with an understanding of knowing what the ordinance was. So for them to come in and say, well, I should get a sign because I'm next to the interstate. Well, no, you shouldn't. But so my other comment related to this is if we do want to consider this, then I wouldn't want to do it by variance, because if you do it by variance, if you allow it here, you have to allow it everywhere else. So if this is something we do want to consider, to me, we would have like a sign district, like within a certain distance from the interstate, you're allowed a sign of higher than our standard. Yeah, but even a conditional use would be hard, because what are the what conditions are we judging it on, other than, because then everybody in town is going to come in and ask for a conditional use. So to me, if we're going to do it, we need to set an area that we're going to allow it to be higher, and then even then put a limit on it. But
Is that I foresee development on the interstate to the west too. there's some businesses there, but I think there could be development there. I think that's a long time coming, but
I just think it wouldn't necessarily have to be a foregone conclusion that that's what you need, because there are different ways to think about things than just, like, it's Christmas, we must eat turkey. No, not necessarily,
Well,
so, but, I know, I understand how things work, so.
But in the research which I'm trying to put together, the applicant, the current applicant is extremely aware of McDonald's and Circle K, who have a very tall sign, and then Coffee Cup has a very tall sign. The Holiday Inn and the Quality Inn, I'm not sure what the height of those are. I'm trying to find out from the property files what the sign permits were allowed. And if those two tall ones, the McDonald's and the Circle K and the Coffee Cup one, were they allowed at that time to be that height, or was there a variance that was allowed? And these applicants maybe would say, if there's already a trend set within this zone, you're talking about, Brian, an overlay zone, wouldn't we be qualified in that area too? We're within a rock's throw of those signs.
Just a note for P and Z, a nonconformance is not a basis for issuing a variance. So something that's nonconforming should not be a justification for, well, now we have to, so.
Paul, are some of those signs that you just referenced, are those outside of our current ordinance?
All right, state that again.
The signs that you just referenced,
Over
the
30
McDonald's
feet.
and-
Yeah, there's no question those two are over 30 feet. I'm not sure about the two hotel signs yet. I'm trying to determine that. But there's no question that the Circle K and McDonald's and the one for Coffee Cup is over 30 feet.
so could they say, well, never mind. That's more for public or public.
Would you be interested in me writing up a very preliminary overlay district? So we can fill in kind of a template that would overlay probably the GB in that area, or HI, or whatever. We would choose, of course, it would work like coloring the map. You would overlay it on certain lots of your choosing. So it wouldn't be, it's 500 feet or whatever, it would be on the zoning map. Is that something you'd be interested in seeing?
My concern with that then is, I don't know, are we opening up something where the next thing somebody's gonna be on Split Rock and say, well, we get a lot of traffic too, why don't we get that same, and then everyone that would want a sign would be the ones complaining about it. I don't know, the whole light pollution thing and everything else, I would rather not see signs get carried away, but I understand the importance of signs too. But people going down the interstate, if it's either a destination or it's it's that time of day, we probably should eat. What's close? And then you look on your phone. By the time you see it, it's probably too late anyway. I don't know, but I don't know. I appreciate the need for signs. I don't think we need to have the whole skyline lit up either.
I can't imagine how tall of a sign you would have to capture somebody's attention that's going eastbound. To get their attention before they hit the exit, time to slow down and get off on the exit, and how tall and how big that sign would actually have to be, because it's on the downhill side of an overpass already. So I don't know if they're going to capture anybody from the east anyway.
Well, who puts the signs up where there's like 4 restaurants listed or whatever? Are those state? Yeah, but is that like DOT? Who would, or the feds? Who?
Yeah, Department of Transportation does those, and they do pay to be on it.
Well, going back to your point, Brian, it's either the applicant or the future applicant, I can't remember now. They're asking for 2 signs. One's 35, which is, even that's over 30, and the other one's 90. So they're really looking for visibility, as you mentioned, Mike, from a long standpoint, get there, make that decision, and get that off that exit.
I
So-
would caution you from talking too much about it outside
Okay.
of the public hearing. We don't want to create the impression that a decision was pre-made.
Are we,
I
are,
would think you wouldn't want them, the signs higher and higher and higher the farther away they are from the exit. No,
okay, are we ready to adjourn then?
So
Can I-
moved.
Can I make one comment before we do? So I had made a comment about some of our inconsistencies and verbiage and stuff on the, previously on the, telecommunication towers. So that wasn't intended as a bad thing, because all of that verbiage predates, I think, anybody in this room, so it was just, it's a section that we haven't ever had to address before, and it's just old verbiage, so.
I appreciate your willingness to read all of that personally. All right,
Second motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
We are adjourned at 8:13 PM.